So in this mock IELTS test, you're going to watch Lu, who is from Vietnam, and he got a band 7 in this test. You're going to find out why he got a band 7, how he did it, and what he can do to move up even higher. Let's get into it. Okay, so this is the IELTS speaking test taking place online today. My name is Keith O'Hare. Hello, can you tell me your full name, please?
Well, my name is Lu. Yeah.
Okay, and what can I call you?
Yeah, please just call me Luke. That's fine.
Luke, fantastic, great. So in the first part of this test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk first of all about what you do. Do you work or are you a student?
Well, to be honest, at the moment, I need a work or study because now, I've been studying IELTS, and after taking this test, I'll be applying for my university or college in Canada. That is my plan.
Okay. And what subject do you want to study?
Well, actually, I was really confused about that, but then I was choosing like nursing or managing, but in the end, I ended up with, cooking because I found out that I'm really interested in cooking. So I decided to take a culinary arts management.
Right. Okay. Let's move on now. Let's talk about friends. What kinds of people do you like to make friends with?
Well, I guess I love to make friends with a lot of people. I don't mind that if they're introvert or they're extrovert. I love to make friends with them because I'm kind of a social person. So yeah.
Do you keep in contact with any of your friends from childhood?
Well, yes, some of them, but for now, I think, unfortunately, I lost my Facebook accounts and just like 2 months ago, and all of the contact, I lost all of them. So for now, I just have some of them left, the contact to keep in touch with them. So,
what do you think makes a good friend?
well, I guess it seems to me like the loyalty and being helpful is they are the two main factors for being a good friend for me. Like if you are in need of help and that friend is willing to help you, then I think that is really good.
Let's move on now and talk about recycling. Do you recycle now?
Well, when I was abroad in the Philippines, I did. I had to recycle the rubbish. But when I am back in Vietnam, normally Vietnamese people, they don't have a habit of recycling things and stuff like that. Well, when I was abroad, yes, I did.
Did you recycle when you were a young child?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know how to recycle rubbish because I think people in my country should be educated to recycle and reuse rubbish because it's really a great way to protect the environment. Somewhat, yeah.
And what kind of things do you recycle?
Well, if I recycle, then I probably recycle some non like biodegradable rubbish or disposal rubbish into separate bags and like some plastic into another bag. That's how I do recycle.
Right, so let's see how Lou is doing so far. Fluency. Well, he's willing to speak at length, although there is some language-related hesitation, right, which is stopping his flow a little bit. However, I noticed some very good use of connectors, right? Things like, to be honest, it seems to me like, I'm not going to lie, but, very, very nice connectors. So my feeling at the moment, he's a 6 or a 7, but he's got potential to move up to a 7. Vocabulary. He can talk about, a variety of topics with a little bit of flexibility. He talked about his friends, talked about recycling. It wasn't hugely flexible, but there was a good sense of collocation, right? Ended up with biodegradable rubbish, but 1 or 2 inappropriacies or mistakes. Dispose the rubbish into separate bags instead of dispose of the rubbish into separate bags. So vocabulary is not bad. I think he's around the 7 level at the moment. Grammar, well, this was quite impressive. I mean, at the end of part 1, he's showing a wide range of tense and frequent error-free sentences, right? So the wide range of tense, he's got present perfect, he's got future and continuous and past continuous. In the very first answer, right, I've been studying for IELTS, present perfect. After the test, I will be applying for university, future continuous. So he really is giving a strong sense of good control of the grammar. Even passives, people should be educated about recycling. So for me, given also the very, very few mistakes, he's probably already up at the 7-8 level in grammar. And that's at the end of part 1. So I will be keeping an eye on mistakes and range in the next part. When it comes to pronunciation, well, he's quite easy to understand throughout. There are 1 or 2 phonemes, especially end of word consonants that are dropped and that are a little bit distracting. Facebook, clothe, casual instead of casual. So Facebook, clothes, casual. So some of those sounds are not very clear and distract a little bit. But he's got a good sense of rhythm. I can hear strong and weak forms used appropriately most of the time. So his pronunciation's quite good. I mean, my feeling is he's around the 7 mark at the moment. Well, let's see how he does in part 2 and part 3. Great. So now I'm going to move on to give you a topic, and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. You have 1 minute to prepare, and you can make some notes if you wish, if you have pen and paper. So I'm going to paste and copy this question for you, right? Right, there it is in the chat box. Can you see that?
Oh, the best clothes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like you to describe an occasion when you wore your best clothes. You have a minute to prepare. Okay. Right. Okay. Are you ready, Luke?
Yes.
Okay. So remember, you've got 1 to 2 minutes for this. Don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up. Okay. When you're ready, can you start?
Right. And I'd like to tell you about a time that I wore my best clothes. Well, it was actually like 2 years ago when I was studying in high school, and my uncle that time he got married with his girlfriend, and all of the family members, had to prepare really well for the wedding party, like purchasing some stuff, picking up some nice clothes for themselves, and to tell you the truth, coincidentally, I had already bought a new white, really good looking t-shirt and a pair of jeans before, when I was attending a birthday party of my friend. And so it was really nice. And I didn't have to worry too much about buying new clothes or everything because I already had that one, yeah. And when I was wearing that, attending the wedding celebration of my uncle, it made me actually feel like I'm a billionaire. Yeah, and I was really happy, and it actually made me look like a dapper man because it looks really cool because the t-shirt, Nike and brand new t-shirt and the jeans. I really love it actually, and I
Okay,
was really
I'll stop you there. Thank you
yeah.
very much. Great. Good. So we've been talking here about an occasion when you wore your best clothes. Okay, I'd like now to go on and ask you some questions related to that topic. So let's talk first of all about clothes for young people and for old people. What's the difference between the style of clothes that young people wear and old people wear?
Well, actually, I think nowadays young people tend to wear more casual clothes because as I am also a young person, I'm a youngster, so I love to wear some kind of clothes that make me really comfortable. And for me, I've seen a lot of old people, like the middle-aged people. They tend to wear some formal clothes like shirts and long pants when they are going out or they are going to work. But nowadays, people like young people tend to be more type stylish and they like to be fashionable, wearing some nice clothes.
Mm-hmm. Great.
And
So, what kind of clothes do you think people should wear at work?
as far as I'm concerned, people when they are going to work or when they are at work, they prefer to wear some formal clothes because I think it probably makes them look more professional as they're in the workplace. Yeah. And for example, if people those who are working in factories, they have the same uniform, which makes them look like they are equal, and no one is higher than this person. So then easy to recognize who is the boss, who is the manager, and who is an employee.
Mm-hmm. How do you think the style of clothes in the workplace will change in the future?
Well, in my opinion, I don't think the style of clothes in the workplace will be changed in the future. But maybe if the type of clothes will be changed in the future, if that they want to have a different kind of uniform, they might change the kind of logos or style of clothes. But if the formal clothes like the uniform for the workers and for an employer or the manager still the same, like that.
Mm,
But just changing about the decoration and logos, I think.
right. Let's talk a bit about uniforms. Do you think that students need to wear a school uniform?
Well, definitely yes. In my opinion, students should wear the uniforms, especially for the pupils. They in high school and primary school. In fact, in my country, all the students in from primary school to high school they have to wear the same clothes, except university or college, because it makes them like wearing uniform actually makes them feel equal like, and they no one is more superior than another person. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And because the reason why the college student, they don't have to wear the same uniform because they're already adults and they're more aware of things. I don't think it's for the more flexible, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what do you think are the disadvantages of wearing a uniform?
Well, that's a good question. Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. Wearing a wearing the same the disadvantages of wearing the same uniform. Well, I don't think there's any disadvantages, to be honest, uh, about wearing uniform. Although it looks like we're all the same, yeah. But I think it's more to be to for us to recognize and to have the same equality. So it's more like formal, and it's for me it looks really uh well.
That's fine. I'm going to stop us there. That's the end of the speaking test. Thank you very much.
It's,
So let's find out how Lou has done at the end of the whole test. So part 2 and part 3, right? How was his fluency? Did he convince me to go up to that band 7? Yes, he did. Absolutely. I felt, not only is he willing, but he can speak, at length without effort. Although there was some language related hesitation, there was no loss of coherence. If he's losing coherence, he might come down to a 6, but he wasn't. And so for me, he was good at 7. And also the continued use of connectors to tell you the truth, coincidentally, developing his topics more and more in part 3. He convinced me he was a 7, I think, in fluency. Vocabulary. Well, he continued to do very well. He was using some less common vocabulary, right? Picking up some nice clothes, picking up instead of buying, or just getting, picking up some nice clothes, brand new. They tend to be stylish. So it's not incredibly idiomatic, but it is quite less common vocabulary. And because he's got a wide range, he can talk about all of the different topics, even though for him, I found out later, clothes was a very tough topic. He was able to talk about it with a level of flexibility, which gives him that, ability to be a band 7 for me. Grammar. Well, he continued to impress me, right, with a wide range of grammar and this frequent error-free sentences. Pronunciation. Well, still quite easy to understand throughout. Not completely. There are still moments that are distracting. He continues to use sentence stress and word stress well. There is some good use of intonation, but there is some noticeable L1 intonation. That will be his Vietnamese intonation, especially the falling and rising tones in inappropriate places, mid-sentence, end of sentence, which were noticeable. And so I think his pronunciation is probably a band 7, which is still very, very good. So overall, I would give Luke a band 7 for his performance. Well done, Luke. Nice one. So my advice to Lou would be to move up now to the band 8, to keep working on the fluency, right? He's got some great chunks, short and medium length chunks. What he needs to do now is to start working on longer phrasing or longer chunks that he can introduce into his speech as naturally as possible. And also be aware of the intonation to make sure he keeps it as natural as he can. And that will help him with those longer chunks and also help push up the pronunciation. I think vocabulary, he just needs to continue expanding it. He's doing very, very well. It's just building up the range of vocabulary to have more flexibility. Talking about pronunciation, I think a couple of things I would encourage him to spend time on are the final consonants, which are a big challenge for many Asian languages, but especially Vietnamese. So he gets the difference between clo and clothes, formal, the dark L, formal instead of formal, and well instead of well. I think just working on those consonant clusters and the dark L will be worth the investment in time to up his pronunciation. And that's it. Otherwise, he's well on track. I'd be interested to ask you, about how you prepare for IELTS and any kind of tips you would like to share with other students.
Well, for me, yeah, of course. One of the best tips is to follow and to study the fluency course if you want to work on the fluency. Yeah, which is the course that you have just released. Yeah, I love that one. I highly certainly recommend people.
That's very kind. It sounds like an advertisement, but very kind.
And if you want to get some more ideas, vocabularies, and the nice language, you can go to get a band 7 and above course. I find it really nice, and especially the structure and how to give the best answer. Short, but not too short, not too long, but it's really nice and coherent, and really clear and precise. I love it. And well, for me, I think I just need to work on the vocabulary and the fluency. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. How do you develop your vocabulary?
Well, actually, I just try to use, just for example, when I got a new vocabulary, new word, I just try to put them in use as much as possible, as much as I can with my friends or some foreigners. Like not only in the context, in the text. For example, normally we just text each other, yeah, but try to put them in use when you are speaking in a spoken way. That's really helps you memorize it more effectively.
Right. It's great. And I want to ask you about your grammar, because your grammar is very, very good and you use it actively very, very good. How have you practiced your grammar to get that so good?
Well, so normally I usually, like more often than not, I text my friends all in English, and I always check my grammar in a spoken way. Yeah.
Right.
So I want to speak grammatically, and just want to perfect it flawlessly, and I keep doing that. Texting is the best way, and then you have to also speak it again. For example, you speak, and if you don't want to text, if you want to try your pronunciation and test the pronunciation and the grammar, then you just, there's a feature on the keyboard that you can record your voice. Then the word will automatically pops up. Yeah, it will automatically pop up on the keyboard, and you just speak it right there.
Right.
Yeah, just practice speaking grammatically by that way.
That's great. I mean, I've noticed your text messages on Facebook. Unusually, they sound very spoken. You tend to write like you're speaking, which is great for a chat, for a text chat. I mean, it sounds like you're speaking to you rather than reading a text, and it's great. I really like that. I think that's a really good idea.
About the clothes, I'm not really interested in clothes and uniform.
Right.
All about the occasion. I'm a simple person, so I don't want to wear like something too much fancy or colors.
Yeah, it's difficult, right? It puts you on the spot when you have a topic that you're not really interested in, or you don't like, you're not following fashion or something. It's really hard to be enthusiastic and talk about it, right? It's very, very tough. So there you are. Well done, Luke. I hope this has helped you understand what you need to do to get a band 7 and have some ideas about how you can work up towards a band 8 as well. If you don't know who I am, then my name is Keith. And if you're interested in improving your IELTS speaking, come along to my website, keithspeakingacademy.com. There's lots of resources there to help you understand the IELTS speaking test and resources to help you improve your speaking as well. Come and join the live lessons every Thursday on YouTube and Facebook at 10 a.m. Spanish time because I live in Spain. Oi. But I am from Britain. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought of this video. And if you would like more of the same, do share the video, like it if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it. And please remember to subscribe so you can see or get notifications of future videos. That's it. Take care. All the best now. Bye-bye.